Hello and welcome back to Soothe Sisters, a podcast about slowing down, tuning in, and soulful connections. I am Nanki.
And I'm Nimit. Together, we are the Soothe Sisters. Today, we're going to talk about something that is so deeply personal to us, our spiritual practices.
These are not any fancy rituals or routines. These are just a couple of tools or things that we picked up along the way to help us navigate the calm and the chaos.
Yeah, and before you think it's something like a deep, preachy episode, it's not that.
It's absolutely not that.
It's just something that has helped us feel more grounded, a bit more healed, and has helped us connect to our inner selves so much more. When we sat down to talk about this, remember how we figured out it can be so intimidating, the topic spiritual practices.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be, right?
Absolutely.
It is something we figured out that it is as easy as brushing your teeth, but for your soul.
Yeah, I love that analogy.
Right?
Right. I mean, you can say that these are some daily non-negotiables or daily practices that we have incorporated in our lives in a way to help us keep us aligned with the source or the higher self, whatever you might call it.
Right, you're so right. And also, these practices have helped us connect so much with our inner self.
Yeah.
Maintain calm.
Yeah.
And it has helped in so many aspects of
keep
life.
us centered, keep us centered and connected.
It has helped us to keep ourselves centered through so many phases of life. Be it relationships, work, or even, like a daily up and down when you're having like a fluctuation of mood or you're going through something difficult during the day.
Yeah.
These practices help us bring ourselves back to ourselves and, hold the calm for us.
And, it's like, all these practices that we've been following, it's not only to, follow them on your bad days.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that has become such an important part of our life that helps us keep going every day in a very positive manner. Yeah. So we thought that no gatekeeping here. We will share with you guys all our practices, raw and unfiltered, the Soothe Sisters way.
Absolutely. Brush your soul's teeth. Right. And before we get into, what our spiritual practices are, Nanki, would you like to discuss what was the journey and, what was the, I would say, all the chronology of events that led you to following this path of spiritual practice?
Yeah, for sure. It started after I lost my husband in June 2024. Mm-hmm. Well, that somehow initiated it, but some of the things I was doing before he passed away and that I carried forward. So, after he passed away, I became a very heavy meditator. Meditation became a very important part of my life. Mm-hmm. And some other things that I picked up and that helped me, sail through or, not only sail through, but make more sense of the grief and the trauma that I was facing in life. What about you, Nimit? How did you, inculcate a routine in your life?
You're so right about the fact that it was always there. It just sort of grew into a different direction.
Yeah.
For me, I figured out, with being a mother and also running a full-time cake business, there was too much on my palate and I would constantly snap and I would constantly get irritated. That is when I figured out there needs to be some sort of routine which helps me stay grounded and calm because these are everyday challenges. You can't escape them.
Yeah.
So, the entire part of motherhood, I would say that is when I figured out I really need something, a set routine just for myself, because if I can't be me, how can I, take care of anyone else, especially
Absolutely.
a child?
Mom brain is not a small thing. Like I've seen you over the years that how your life changed 360 after becoming a mom in a good way as well.
Yes, absolutely.
But taking care of someone who is totally dependent on you and also taking care of yourself, it needs certain boundaries and certain practices that you need to establish to take care of yourself in order to take care of the child, correct?
Absolutely. Never has this saying held more importance, fill your own cup before you try to pour from an empty cup. Fill up your own. So to keep my cup filled, these spiritual practices have helped me. This has been my journey so far.
Amazing.
So Nanki, we've used this term so much so far, spiritual practices. It could mean something very different to you. different to me. But I think for someone who is just tuning in and they're just listening to this, could you briefly explain what is the term spiritual practice?
So I can just speak from my experience, what my practices are or have been. So, I would say like spiritual practices are something that helps you connect with your soul, that helps you connect with, you can say, the source or the higher self, and helps you keep your calm and center. Now, this could look very different from me, different for you, and different for anybody and everybody, right? So I would say that anything and everything, it could be one practice or practices that help you keep yourself aligned and help you stay in the present. It is so important to stay in the present. We tend to worry about the future. That does not exist, clearly. And the past, that does not exist as well.
Right.
So staying present in the moment is so important.
You're so right.
So I believe these are some practices or tools that help you stay in the present.
Absolutely. Wow. That is so well put. Just as simple as, a cup of coffee or a tea is going to wake someone up in the morning.
Yeah.
That's their ritual. That's their belief.
Yeah.
Same way spiritual practices are for your mind, or for you to be connected with your mind and your body and your soul at the same time.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So Nanki, could you also elaborate what are your spiritual practices these days?
Wow, that's interesting. So there is not like a checklist that I follow. There are some things that I do on a daily basis. And I have formed it as a part of my routine that, as I mentioned, help me stay centered and focused. So my day, it starts with music. It's a non-negotiable. Music is always on. Like it starts first thing in the morning, and I do a little tiny dance when I do my brush and everything. It just sets the tone for the day. Like
why not?
And I always put on music that uplifts you, like house music or deep house, something like that. It's always in the background.
Right.
But after I lost my husband, when cover crossed over, for a very long time I could not do that, and I thought that will I ever be able to dance again, or will I ever be able to listen to music again? But that thing has come back again, and I'm so happy and glad, because that is something that I have been doing since probably my childhood.
Wow.
And I say that is my spiritual practice, because it helps me set the tone for the day. So that is something I do every day.
And now that you've said that, I saw you going through that part. It was so hard for you to put on music for a very long time.
Yeah.
And specifically the certain kind of music that you'd always listen to when cover was around. It took you a very long time to come back to that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you've reconnected with that part. Apart from this, I also have seen you being very consistent with meditation. Do you have something to say about that?
Yeah. So, when I started meditating, now this is something that I believed that I needed some sort of direction how to meditate, because you need to calm your mind, the chatter in your mind. We have like 100 or 1,000 tabs open in our mind all the time.
Yep.
So what I started doing was I went on YouTube, and there are like a million guided meditations available there. I was surprised, how there are so many tools available.
Yeah.
Like help is always there. The question is, are you ready to ask for help?
Wow, yeah.
Right?
You've got to ask for it.
You got to ask for it. So I started doing meditation with the help of those guided meditations. And, it began as like a 5 minutes or a 10 minutes meditation, a guided session through YouTube. And then now I have been able to do it on by myself, because I've been practicing it for quite a while now. So what I also do is I focus on my breath. That is also something that I learned through YouTube. Like there are so many free resources available.
Cool. Wow.
Right?
People make a career out of YouTube, so why not make your own life easy out of YouTube, right?
Yeah, and so that is something I started doing. I really focus on my breath. I have learned how to calm my breath down, how to focus on my breath, and how to center everything around my heart, if that makes sense. That's a practice that I have developed. So yeah, that is something I do every day. And also besides that, I love to walk around in nature whenever I can. I think nature is the best and the free therapy available. Once you're outdoors, you just connect with the nature in a way that it's a free therapy session. I don't know what happens outdoors. That is something I probably never tuned into before, but that is the energy that I tune into now.
Wow, I've always seen you coming back calmer and happier.
Yeah,
after a walk, definitely.
For sure, it just clears your mind, and gives me so many ideas as well when I am walking. So I believe that walking is meditation.
Beautiful.
Because you are in the moment. It is meditation for me.
That's wonderful. So far, what I've figured out: wake up, move your body.
Absolutely, movement is key.
Put on some fantastic music. Onto your meditation, breath work. Walk in the nature. So this is how you'd like to sum it up. These are your spiritual practices. Anything more you'd like to add?
Yeah, funny thing, I don't know how, but last year I really got interested into crystals. Like, that is something, remember? I had this obsession, like I wanted to get like those crystal bracelets, and I had no idea what crystals are or what crystal bracelets are. So I went to a very random shop to, pick up some bracelets. I just went in with no expectation. I thought that I will just pick up whatever calls to me. Anyway, long story short, I just picked up something, and the crystal lady, the lady in the shop said, "Oh, why don't you take this bath salt along?" I'm like, "Okay, what is that?" She's like, "Remember that bath salt jar?" She's like, "Oh, just take this, and it helps you get rid of those negative feelings or that negativities. Just soak in it." I'm like, "Okay, just give it to me," and that has changed so many things for me. So shout out to that crystal lady who gave me that bath salt jar. It was like a permission slip. So basically what I figured out, when I set my intention with that bath salt and I soak myself in that, it helps me get rid of any negative feelings or any energy that does not belong to me. So even if I am not able to do like a full soaking bath session, I sometimes wash my hands with it and I just set my intention that, anything that does not belong to me, like any energy that does not belong to me or any negative feelings, and I definitely feel lighter after that.
Wow, that's wonderful, and I thank you too for passing on a little sample of that bath salt to me. It definitely did make a difference. Either it is just, you could say, you're training your mind in a way that you're putting your belief in that tool that this is going to help me, and you're pretty sure about it. And it works, or either it actually does work. I think salt has been a part of our culture for a very long time. A lot of people keep bowls of salt somewhere in the house when they want to ward off any negative energy, or maybe just bring out the positive vibe of a place. I've seen people do that.
Mom also used to put like a bowl of salt in the in some of the other corner in the house, and honestly we used to make fun of her that what is this, but now looking back, that makes sense. So moms are never wrong.
Moms are not wrong. Ancient practices have so much depth to them.
Absolutely.
And I also remember, Nanki, you would back when you were in Vancouver like a couple months ago, you were already so much into yoga. You said that I'm really connecting with yoga, right? And then you went for like a goat yoga with one of your friends, right? So could you also talk about how yoga has been like an anchor for you?
Okay. So I have before Cover crossed over, I never practiced yoga, or I never was introduced to practicing yoga. But somehow, like after he crossed over, for a very long time I could not go to the gym because honestly my body would never allow me to, and I would just intuitively do some movements, just like gentle movements, which I did not know was yoga. I was actually practicing yoga intuitively.
Wow.
I mean, right?
Interesting.
So when, as you mentioned, when I was in Vancouver, one of my friends, she booked us for a goat yoga session. I was so skeptical about it that, okay, what is this? Anyway, so we both went into that session, and it was so relaxing and so connecting to your body, kind of connecting to your soul kind of a situation. After that, I just thought that this is something I would love to learn professionally one day, not for the purpose of teaching, but I would want to learn it and incorporate it more in my life. So basically what I would like to sum up is movement is key. Any sort of movement. Movement just makes you feel so lighter, happier, and all those happy hormones, those are released. So these are in short my practices that I follow.
That's wonderful. I mean, movement is key, and it's amazing how you said that your intuition guided your body how to move, to release all that stress. That's fantastic. I'm sure a lot of us don't even realize that, you could move your body in a way that just listen to your body. Like, it's always going to tell you what to do.
I mean, once you start connecting with your body, it will tell you what it needs. I mean, it is something which is so amazing. We ignore so many signs that our body keeps on giving us. But once you start connecting with it, it will tell you what it wants. So just listen to that intuition, listen to your gut feeling. Like, we always ignore it, but it is always telling us something or the other.
That's wonderful, Nanki. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. Let's just shift the gears and talk about your spiritual practices. I believe, and I've observed and seen over the years, that the practices or the routines that you follow are more intuitive. Would you like to tell our audience more about it?
Yeah, sure. I've been doing, how you said at the beginning of the segment that, how you said at the beginning of the episode, spiritual practices can vary from person to person, and it's a very personal approach to it. So I've been doing this since I was a child, and very recently we figured out that there is a name to it. We call it spiritual practices. It was always something that connects you to your, which brings your body, mind and soul together. For me, anything that does that is a spiritual practice, right? Anything that helps you feel grounded and centered.
Beautifully put.
So I've always been starting my day in consciousness. In consciousness, whenever I'd wake up, I'd always say hi to God, hi, good morning, God.
So or just like a telephone call to the other side.
It's not really a telephone call to the other side. It's more like how I just say hi, good morning. That's how I like to start my day.
Okay.
The moment my eyes open up, or when you're coming back to consciousness from sleeping, I'd always say a hello to God in my mind.
Okay.
And that has been with me since I was a child. So I can't even remember when I was not doing it. It has always been that way.
Yeah.
And very recently we've started calling it a spiritual practice because that does make me feel very aware of everything around me.
Okay.
That I'm here, I'm present, and I'm thankful to God for this another day.
Yeah.
Like how they say. And apart from that, what recently I started doing is, as soon as I wake up, I don't want to carry any energy from yesterday or anything that has been happening yesterday. I ideally try and take that away before I sleep.
Okay.
But there's always some residual energy, or there's some residual conversation from yesterday which will pop up in your head the moment you wake up. There's as you always say, there are multiple tabs open in your head.
Always are.
The moment you wake up, those tabs are still there.
Yeah.
So I always try to mentally think and imagine that I'm draining away anything from my body that doesn't belong to me.
Yeah.
I'm starting fresh, and it's a clean slate for me every day. So I like to physically imagine the energy leaving my body the moment I wake up. Anything that doesn't serve me or doesn't belong to me. And I try and welcome everything that is for my highest good back to myself.
Interesting.
And any energy that I've ever given away to anyone, I try and imagine that coming back to me refreshed, pure, and back to me, and it's ready to give me more energy.
I remember you mentioned the other day that you wake up and put something like a bubble kind of a situation around you. What is that? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so this is something that is not a technique that I have developed, frankly, to be very honest. I don't even know who to credit this for.
Yeah.
This is something I've read a lot of times, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it on podcasts. A lot of people talk about it. I've read it in so many books that, how this is an energy-based system.
Yeah.
So I like to put an energy bubble around myself in the morning.
Okay.
And the color of it could depend on what I feel guided towards at that time, right?
Oh.
So I put like a, either a translucent or an imaginary bubble of energy around myself, which protects me from anything that doesn't belong to me, with love and everything that's for my highest good is always welcome. So after hearing it and after trying it out, it surely works for me.
Yeah.
You could again call it like a permission slip or a tool that helps you stay anchored to yourself. Yeah. And it kind of gives you like a security in your mind that, you're, whatever
safe.
You're doing, you're doing fine.
So did you do this morning, and what was the color of the bubble, and how did you come up with that color?
I don't know. I do not know how the color comes up. It's the very first thought. The moment I imagine that, this constant energy that God gives to you, or, you're in a constant flow of abundance from the universe.
Yeah. So
keeping that in mind, the moment I try and imagine that energy coming onto me, the abundance coming onto me, whatever color pops in my head first, that is the color of my bubble. Wow. So I think today morning it was like a holographic, iridescent kind of bubble.
Oh, interesting.
So if you see that on the camera,
if someone's seeing on the camera, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's another one of my spiritual practices of lately, which has been working so well for me.
Also, I remember as a child, you were always a moon child. You would obsess over the moon. Like, that obsession was really uncanny, and it still is. But can you just let us know, like, how is the moon so important to you? Why is the moon so important to you?
It just is. and I am tired of explaining it to myself that why am I so attracted to the moon. As a child, all of you would make so much fun of me.
Yeah, and
as a teenager too, you're like, who gets obsessed over the moon? Is it like some romantic movie going on?
Exactly. For me, I always thought it as a cheap romantic stunt that you were pulling up, that always romanticizing the moon, always going on the terrace and when it was a full moon night and always obsessing over the moon. And I thought that you've seen in some romantic nonsense thing, romantic comedy or romantic obsession that you have. But now looking back, I take my words back. I have understood why you did that. Could you explain our audience more about it, your obsession with the moon?
Absolutely. I mean, why not romanticize it? It is a beautiful thing after all.
It is
like a celestial globe shining in the sky, giving us a beautiful few nights of the month. Anyway, so as I said, I'm just tired of, explaining this fact to myself. Now I'm just fully, thoroughly accepted it. I like the moon. It's just the energy and the power of it on me is something I can't explain. I've always been drawn to it. I'd sit and gaze at it for hours when I was a child. And somehow I've always been blessed with, you could call it room or accommodations, which are always facing the moon when it is in a full moon time.
Yeah.
We've shifted so many houses so far, right? From our maiden house to living to multiple places in Canada and my current home.
Yeah.
So even the studio that we're working in right now, it has a perfect view of the full moon whenever the full moon's out. So it just follows me around. Even if I'm following it around, it follows me too. So there's this beautiful connect to the moon. And over the years or over the months, I'd say, like this past year that you and me have had the spiritual awakening, I've figured out certain practices that have even helped me involve this energy more into myself. By reading up books about or listening it on podcasts, how people say, just water holds so much energy. So I let my water get charged with the moon's light and I set an intention on it. Right? I don't know if it works or not, but mentally it does make me feel that it is working for me, absorbing such beautiful light from the moon. And then just consuming that water in the morning, creating like a moon water for me whenever the moon is visible through my window. So that is one spiritual practice which I do every month for whenever the moon is visible through my window. And apart from that, the moon is beautiful.
I believe that at the end or in the end, it's the intention that matters, right?
Exactly.
When you set your intention to a thing and you start believing, that is what your belief system becomes, and that is what you can say the surroundings or the universe around you becomes, correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's the intention that matters. And as and when, whatever journey you and me are on, I'd love to understand, and if anyone out there has an answer for it, that why this attraction towards the moon and this beautiful pull that I feel towards the moon, I'd love to explore that.
I think there is something really feminine and really mystical about the moon. So that also adds a very charming element to it, that the mystical and the feminine energy to this lunar energy, right?
Yeah, I think so. I have been connecting so much of lately to the fact of walking barefoot on the grass. I'm sure this is a practice which has been followed in so many cultures since years. It's again, I'm not taking credit for this practice.
It's just something that you rediscovered.
That I discovered, and I followed it, and it works wonders. Any time of the day you figure out that you're not feeling centered, there's too much chaos around you, you need to shut down your mind's constant chatter.
Barefoot.
So walking barefoot on the grass helps me. Again, I imagine myself being connected to Mother Earth. And it's taking away all the energy that doesn't belong to me, and respectfully thanking Mother Nature to help me ground, and then imagining that I'm filled with fresh energy, and every worry and every tension, every chaos in my mind has been taken away by Mother Earth. That's what I like to imagine.
Interestingly, there is something that I have also developed along the way, that whenever I cannot access, the outdoors, I like to put some sort of greens in my room,
Ooh, yeah.
Right? I mean, that just instantly lifts you up. That just instantly changes the aura of the room. Like any sort of leaves or any sort of foliage. If you just put in the room, it just changes the aura of the room and the mood of the room, and you instantly feel connected to the nature.
So true. Even I have little plants, like a snake plant or a money plant, or some kind of tiny
succulents or
something that lives in the room. Yeah. I think every room should have that.
Yeah.
And apart from this, we are doing a podcast right now, and listening to podcasts is one of my spiritual practices, I'd say. Again, it's a very anyone can interpret it however they like, but this is what works for me. So whenever I'm working, I'm a cake artist, as I've mentioned, so I have to work with my hands a lot. So whenever I'm working, and the job is very labor intensive, you have to spend hours decorating a cake, right? So whenever I'm working, I like to just put my headphones on, and the very first podcast that I find, or something that I've been wanting to listen to, I just put that on and I do my business, and I feel so connected to myself because I'm getting all that information that is out there, and also I'm working on something that I love. This is such a almost meditative practice for me to put on a podcast while I'm working, and my work in itself feels very meditative to me.
Fascinating that you mentioned that. Don't you believe, or don't you think that doing something that you really love, like for example you love cake art, you're a cake artist, as you said, like doing something that you really love becomes a sort of a spiritual practice, or is sort of a spiritual practice, because then you do not know how much time passes by and you just are in the flow. Your body, mind are in a alignment and in tune, that you just keep on following that thing, and that becomes sort of meditative and therapeutic, as you just said.
Absolutely, it is so therapeutic and meditative for me, because I am getting to do what I actually really love to do. How some people say following your highest excitement, following your highest passion. That is such a therapeutic thing for me.
It is so important to find something that you really love doing. I mean, even if it's just gardening, like, right? I mean, you need to have something that you love. You need to take out time to do it for yourself, man.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. To sum it up, just for me, waking up in consciousness, energy bubbles, and walking bare feet on the grass, putting moon waters out for myself, actually believing in it that it works, and following my passion. These are my spiritual practices.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks. So, Nanki, what do you think is going to be the takeaway from today's conversation?
The takeaway for this conversation, according to me, is any practice, let it be as simple as cycling, that helps you connect with yourself and helps you be in the present and focus what's going on in the present, is your spiritual practice. There are no textbook rules, there are no rigid formats here. Follow what your heart says, but do something for yourself. The most important thing is just do something for yourself. Just don't wait for, things to happen. Taking the first step is so important. Taking care of yourself is so important. Once you start taking care of yourself, you will just feel the energy shift, and you will feel so much difference in your life, so much better quality in your life. So that, according to me, that's the most important thing that you can do for yourself. Love yourself in a way that you make time for yourself and do something for yourself to help you be present in the moment.
Absolutely. That is, I think, the best thing that you could take away from from today's conversation. Even if it is just like a 30-second thing. So wrapping up, if this episode resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such conversations, and share this with someone who you think would love or start their own spiritual practices. And we'd love to hear what you guys follow on a daily basis, like a small practice, or maybe it could be anything that helps you connect with yourself. We'd love to hear what your stories are. Comment in this video, or maybe DM us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is popping right on the screen.
See you in the next episode. Until then, stay soothed.
This is Soothe Sisters signing off.
Bye.